What if the reason your belly won't shrink has nothing to do with how much you eat, but when? There's a hidden type of fat tucked deep inside your abdomen that's not only hard to lose but also quietly dangerous. It's called visceral fat. Unlike the soft fat just under your skin, this fat wraps itself around your liver, heart, and other vital organs. It presses, chokes, and interferes, and no amount of dieting or walking seems to make it budge. If you've noticed your midsection feeling more firm than soft, or that weight gain comes quicker than it used to, chances are this is the kind of fat you're dealing with. But here's what most people don't realize. Visceral fat doesn't just sit there, it changes you from the inside out. It messes with your metabolism, hijacks your hormones, and sends your body into a state of silent inflammation. Yet the real key to melting it isn't in eating less. It's in flipping a switch that modern lifestyles have shut off. And that switch is fasting, but not just skipping meals at random. There's a specific way to fast that targets visceral fat, protects your organs, and unlocks a level of energy and clarity most people haven't felt in decades. This idea isn't new. In fact, it's ancient. Our ancestors didn't eat 3 meals a day with snacks in between. They ate when food was available, and they fasted when it wasn't. Their bodies knew how to switch between stored energy and fresh fuel. That's metabolic flexibility, something most of us have lost. Today, we eat from the moment we wake up to the moment we sleep. Our insulin, the hormone that tells the body to store fat, stays elevated all day long. And when insulin is always high, fat burning simply shuts off, no matter how healthy your meals are. Here's where fasting comes in. When done correctly, it gives insulin a chance to fall. That's when your body finally taps into its fat reserves for energy. And visceral fat, that's at the top of the list. But fasting isn't just about skipping breakfast. As we age, our metabolism slows down. The mitochondria, the tiny engines inside your cells, start running less efficiently. That's why people in their 60 seconds and beyond often say they eat very little but still gain weight. It's not a failure of willpower, it's biology. The good news? The right kind of fasting can recharge those mitochondria. It helps your cells burn fuel more like they did in your younger years, clean, steady, and efficient. And when you combine fasting with the right nourishment, you don't feel weak or deprived. You feel sharper, lighter, more focused. The secret lies in what you eat before, during, and after your fast. And that's where organ foods come in: liver, heart, bone broth. These may not sound glamorous, but they're packed with the exact nutrients your organs need to heal and function properly again. These foods deliver B vitamins, choline, CoQ10, and other compounds modern processed foods just can't provide. Your liver, for example, needs specific nutrients to detox effectively. Your heart relies on CoQ10 to keep pumping. Your brain thrives on healthy fats. So when you fast and follow up with these power-packed foods, you're not starving yourself, you're fueling your recovery at a deep cellular level. That's the difference between simply losing weight and actually healing. Fasting breaks things down, organ foods build them back up, and when you follow this natural cycle, visceral fat doesn't stand a chance. But, and this is important, do it wrong and the results can backfire. Skipping meals, then eating processed snacks or sugary meals to break your fast can trigger your body to panic. It stores even more fat and causes your blood sugar to crash. That's why fasting isn't about restriction. It's about rhythm. Learning how to work with your body, not against it. That's why I always say, fasting is a skill, not a struggle. It's not about testing how long you can go without eating. It's about learning your body's natural rhythm and restoring the balance it once knew. And once you learn how to sync with that rhythm, fasting stops feeling like a chore. It feels like coming home, like flipping a switch that was meant to be on all along. Here's something most people never expect. Fasting isn't just about shrinking fat. It's about repairing the body from the inside out. During your fasting window, something remarkable happens, a process known as autophagy. Picture your body like a house that's collected clutter over the years. Damaged cells, misfolded proteins, lingering toxins, they all pile up silently. Autophagy is your body's cleanup crew. When you fast, your cells start recycling that waste into energy. It's like doing deep cleaning at the microscopic level. Now here's where visceral fat becomes even more relevant. Because this fat isn't just extra storage, it's toxic. It releases harmful compounds into your system that damage your cells. But when autophagy kicks in, it helps repair that damage. That's why many people who fast correctly don't just notice fat loss. They report clearer skin, better focus, easier digestion, and less joint pain. Their body is literally renewing itself, not just losing weight, but reversing damage. Naturally, that leads to an important question, especially if you're over 60. Is fasting safe for me? The answer, for most healthy older adults, is yes. But it must be done correctly. If you're managing chronic conditions like uncontrolled diabetes or taking medications that influence blood sugar, then supervision is key. Always talk with your doctor before starting. But for most people in their 60 seconds and beyond, fasting is not deprivation, it's restoration. Your body isn't breaking down, it's rebuilding, reprogramming, reclaiming its original intelligence. One of the most powerful examples of this is what happens with hormones. When insulin drops during fasting, another hormone quietly rises, human growth hormone, or HGH. This hormone is essential for muscle maintenance, bone strength, and metabolic repair. It's the reason the right kind of fasting doesn't make you feel frail. It makes you feel strong, energized, and resilient. You start to crave real food, not sugar. You feel lighter in your belly, more alert in your mind, and more balanced throughout the day. And this brings us to the most misunderstood piece of fasting, how you break the fast. Most people get it wrong. If you've just spent 14 or 16 hours helping your body burn fat and clean house, and then you break your fast with sweetened coffee, cereal, or white bread, you've just slammed the brakes on that entire process. Your insulin shoots back up, your blood sugar spikes, and fat burning stops cold. But break your fast gently with something like warm bone broth, a boiled egg, or a bit of grass-fed liver seasoned with sea salt, and you reinforce the fat-burning signal. You tell your body, we're healing, not hoarding. That's how fasting goes from being a temporary fix to becoming a permanent metabolic shift. Let me give you a glimpse of what this feels like in real life. You wake up, have a glass of water or plain coffee, maybe go for a light walk or ease into your morning. You're surprised to find you're not hungry, your mind feels sharp, your mood steady. And when it's time to eat, you enjoy a small, nutrient-dense meal. No sugar crash, no brain fog, just a clean, stable energy that lasts. That's the power of fasting when it's done right. But here comes a surprising twist, because there's one timing mistake people make every day that stops this process in its tracks. It's not about what you eat, it's about when you eat. And once you understand this timing shift, your fat-burning potential unlocks in ways that feel almost effortless. I'll explain exactly what that is and how to fix it in just a moment. Let's talk about what I call the golden fasting window, the period when your body flips from storing fat to burning it. This is where fasting moves from good to powerful. Most people never reach this point, not because they can't, but because they don't know it exists. Timing, not just intention, is everything. When you get the timing right, you enter a zone where fat starts dissolving, inflammation drops, energy stabilizes, and your organs begin functioning like they did years ago. Here's the biology behind it. After about 6 hours without food, your blood sugar begins to dip and your body starts using up glycogen-stored sugar in the liver and muscles. Around the 12-hour mark, those glycogen stores are nearly depleted. That's when insulin levels drop low enough to unlock your fat stores. But something remarkable begins between 14 and 18 hours of fasting. This is the golden window when autophagy accelerates and visceral fat gets targeted more aggressively. Now, I know what you're thinking. 14 to 18 hours, that sounds hard. But here's the surprising part. You're probably already halfway there every night without even trying. If you stop eating by 6 p.m. and have your first meal at 8 a.m., that's 14 hours. Add a cup of water, herbal tea, or black coffee in the morning, and you can stretch it to 16 without much effort. You're not starving, you're simply giving your body space to clean, restore, and burn what it doesn't need. You don't have to do this every day to see results. Even 2 or 3 times a week is enough to begin reversing years of metabolic slowdown. The key is consistency and letting your body complete the cycle. Because during those extra few hours, your insulin remains low and your metabolism shifts into repair mode. That's where real change happens at the cellular level. But here's the trap. Just as powerful as fasting can be, it can all be undone in the first few bites of your post-fast meal. Picture your body like a sponge after a drought. The first thing it absorbs will set the tone. If you give it sugar, fruit juice, toast, or sweetened coffee, your blood sugar spikes instantly. Insulin floods your system and the body flips right back into storage mode. All the fat-burning momentum gone. Instead, break your fast with foods that extend the fat-burning window. Think clean proteins and healthy fats. A boiled egg, half an avocado, or a cup of warm bone broth. These stabilize your blood sugar, keep insulin low, and signal your body to continue burning fat, not storing it. This subtle shift in timing and food choice is the difference between spinning your wheels and moving forward. Now, let's connect this back to your organs because they're not operating in isolation. When you fast, your liver starts producing ketones, clean burning molecules that fuel your brain and heart. Your gut begins to reset. Your brain feels sharper, calmer. That's the internal harmony most people haven't felt in years, and it's why fasting can feel like lifting a fog you didn't know you were living under. But just as your body is cleaning house, it's also vulnerable. This is the moment your organs need true nourishment. That's why organ-based foods are so important here. Grass-fed liver replenishes vitamin A, zinc, and choline, exactly what the liver needs to rebuild. Bone broth delivers collagen and amino acids to heal the gut and joints. Heart meat or sardines offer CoQ10 and omega-3 seconds to support circulation and reduce inflammation. This isn't trendy. It's ancestral. It's how your body was designed to heal after periods of rest. And when you combine fasting with this kind of nutrition, your body doesn't just burn fat, it resets its entire operating system. But a quick heads up, if your diet has been heavy on processed foods for years, your body may resist this shift at first. You might feel tired, irritable, or even headachy during your first few fasts. That's not failure, it's transition. It's called the metabolic switch. Your body is learning how to burn fat again. And once that switch flips, what follows is something most people haven't felt in decades. Calm, steady energy. That calm, steady energy, it's your body rediscovering how it was always meant to function. And while that shift feels incredible, there's something critical you can't overlook during this transition hydration. As visceral fat begins to break down, it doesn't just release stored energy, it also releases toxins your liver and kidneys couldn't process before. That's right, visceral fat acts like a storage locker for inflammation, heavy metals, and metabolic waste. When you fast, your body finally starts cleaning out those old shelves. But here's the danger. If you're not drinking enough clean water, those toxins don't leave. They circulate. And that's what can make you feel sluggish, dizzy, or off balance during early fasting days. That's why water is your most important tool. Think of it like the garbage truck during your body's spring cleaning. Without it, all the junk you're stirring up just piles into new corners. Drink pure water. Add a pinch of sea salt or natural electrolytes if you're feeling low. Herbal teas help too. This step, though simple, is essential. Now here's something modern science is finally confirming. Fasting doesn't just shrink your waistline. It changes your genes. During fasting, your body activates what researchers call longevity genes. These include pathways like SIRT1 and AMPK, which improve insulin sensitivity, reduce inflammation, and protect against age-related disease. Every hour you spend in a fasted state helps your cells function better and age slower. It's not just about living longer. It's about living better, more mobile, more clear-minded, more independent. This is especially powerful for seniors. The goal isn't just fat loss, it's vitality. Think about it. What would your life feel like if your joints didn't ache when you got out of bed? If your heart didn't have to work so hard? If your digestion felt calm and regular? If you could walk farther, breathe deeper, and sleep soundly again? That's not wishful thinking. That's what happens when inflammation begins to fade and organs start communicating again. And fasting done correctly is the trigger. Naturally, many people ask, can I take my medications while fasting? In most cases, yes. But timing matters. Some medications, especially those for blood sugar or blood pressure, may need to be adjusted as your body improves. That's why working with your doctor is so important, not to stop you from fasting, but to guide the process safely. Because as your insulin resistance improves, many people find they no longer need the same doses or sometimes any at all. Here's how it all connects. When your insulin levels drop consistently, your blood sugar follows. Your blood pressure stabilizes. Your cholesterol often improves too. These aren't isolated systems, they're gears in the same clock. And when one starts turning smoothly, the rest align naturally. That's the beauty of working with your body instead of trying to force it into submission with pills and restriction. Now, let's imagine something for a moment. Picture yourself 6 months from now. You've been fasting 2 or 3 times a week. You hydrate well, you nourish with organ-rich meals, and you've learned how to listen to your body. Your belly feels lighter, your skin looks clearer, you move with more ease, you sleep deeper and wake up sharper, you've reclaimed the kind of energy you thought was lost to age. And the best part? It didn't come from punishment. It came from rhythm, a return to how your body was always meant to function. That's the power of fasting when done right. It's not a phase, it's a return to natural cycles, feast and fast, rest and rebuild. And when you live this way, your metabolism doesn't fight you anymore. It follows you, it works with you. But there's another layer to this story, a deeper truth that explains why fasting works so well after 60. It has to do with nutrient sensitivity. As you age, your cells become more responsive to what you feed them. Every bite of food, good or bad, goes further. That's why every post-fast meal is an opportunity, a chance to rebuild, to replenish, to restore function. So instead of constantly grazing and overwhelming your system, you give it time to rest. Then feed it with purpose. That's how older adults begin to feel like their bodies are finally working for them again. That's what makes fasting so transformative. In your later years, your body becomes receptive again. But there's another player in this process that's often overlooked, yet it controls more than most people realize: your circadian rhythm. This internal body clock governs your hormones, your sleep, your hunger, and even how well you burn fat. Align your fasting with it, and everything becomes easier. Fight it, and even the best diet won't get you far. Here's what the science says. Your body processes food more efficiently during daylight hours. Eating late at night keeps insulin elevated, even while you sleep. And that means fat, especially visceral fat, sticks around. But when you finish eating before sunset, your body enters repair mode sooner. Insulin drops, growth hormone rises. This is why the timing of your fast matters just as much as the length. Let's make this real. Say you eat your last meal at 6 p.m. Then break your fast at 10 a.m. the next day. That's a 16-hour fast, enough time for your body to digest, lower insulin, trigger autophagy, and start burning visceral fat. And here's the best part, you were asleep for half of it. So instead of feeling like a test of endurance, it becomes a peaceful routine. No extra effort, just strategic timing. And when you do break your fast, you choose nutrient-dense foods that reinforce the healing. A couple of eggs with olive oil and avocado, a cup of warm bone broth, maybe even a small portion of grass-fed liver. That meal doesn't just satisfy hunger. It signals your body to keep burning fat, to keep repairing, to keep moving forward. Done consistently, this rhythm becomes the backbone of your new metabolism. But let me tell you what separates those who succeed with fasting from those who give up. Consistency, not perfection. It's not about fasting every day or hitting the exact same hours. It's about honoring the rhythm most days, letting your body rest, and feeding it wisely. And over time, your body gets the message. It stops clinging to fat. It stops begging for sugar. It remembers how to function on its own. And that brings us to the next secret, something so few people talk about, yet it determines whether fasting becomes your new normal or just another failed attempt. It's not about food. It's not about timing. It's about mindset and how your body feels during the fast. Because here's the truth. When fasting feels like a battle, most people quit. But when it feels natural, it becomes a lifestyle. And the way to make fasting feel natural? It begins with the final adjustment. A shift so simple, yet so powerful, that it can transform fasting from something you tolerate into something you actually enjoy. It has nothing to do with supplements or strict rules. It has everything to do with how you talk to your body, how you think about nourishment, and how you treat those hours of not eating, not as punishment, but as a gift. See, most people approach fasting with a mindset of lack. They fear hunger, they worry, they'll feel weak, they brace themselves for discomfort, and in doing so, they trigger stress hormones that sabotage the very process they're trying to support. That's why I always say, your body hears what your mind believes. So if your mind says, I'm starving, your body panics and holds on to fat. But if your mind says, I'm resting, I'm healing, I'm clearing space, your body relaxes, it lets go. It burns fat, it rebuilds. And this mental shift, it changes everything. This mental shift from fear to trust, from restriction to renewal is the missing link. It's what turns fasting from a temporary hack into a permanent way of life. When you begin your fast with intention, maybe a quiet moment of prayer or a deep breath of gratitude, everything changes. You're not depriving your body, you're honoring it. And your body responds by shifting into rest, into repair, into healing. There's real science behind this. When you're calm, your vagus nerve, the main communication line between your brain and gut, activates. Your digestion improves, your heart rate steadies, your cravings reduce, your body exits survival mode and enters restoration. Seniors who fast mindfully often notice fewer digestive issues, smoother blood pressure, and a dramatic drop in inflammation. Because they're not fighting their body anymore. They're partnering with it. And once your body feels safe, something beautiful happens. It begins to release the toxic fat it's been clinging to for years. Visceral fat isn't just energy, it's stored stress, stored damage. And when stress leaves the mind, fat leaves the body. That's why mindset isn't just helpful, it's essential. Your body needs permission to let go. But the benefits don't stop at the waistline. Once your body starts producing ketones, the clean burning fuel made from fat, your brain lights up. You think more clearly, remember more easily, and even feel emotionally lighter. Many people describe it as a kind of mental sunshine. It's not a miracle. It's metabolism finally functioning the way it was designed to. And it's why fasting has been used for thousands of years, not just for physical healing, but for spiritual clarity too. It brings your entire system, body, mind, and spirit back into rhythm. Now, let's talk about what not to do. Overfasting is real. Push too hard, ignore hunger signals, or fast for ego instead of healing, and your thyroid may slow, your immune system may weaken, your muscles might shrink. Fasting is not about proving how strong you are. It's about balance, about knowing when to pause and when to nourish. If you feel dizzy, lightheaded, or exhausted, that's your body asking for food. Listen, healing is not a competition. It's cooperation. And of course, certain conditions require extra care. If you're managing uncontrolled diabetes, kidney disease, or adrenal fatigue, work closely with your doctor. Fasting is powerful medicine. But like all medicine, it must be used wisely. The goal is not suffering. The goal is sustainable vitality. So, what does that look like in daily life? It's simpler than you think. You finish eating by 6 p.m., drink clean water through the evening, and get a full night's sleep. You wake up without that anxious morning hunger. Maybe go for a light walk, do some stretching, enjoy a calm start to your day. Around 10 or 11 a.m., you break your fast with a small, nourishing meal, grass-fed liver, bone broth, maybe a couple eggs with olive oil and avocado. No spike, no crash, just stable, natural energy flowing through your afternoon. A second light meal by 4 or 5 p.m. and you're done eating for the day. Peaceful, simple, sustainable, and that rhythm, once consistent, changes everything. Your belly softens. Your sleep deepens. Your energy stretches from morning to night without caffeine or sugar. Your joints ache less. Your mind feels clearer. Your skin begins to glow again. Your body feels alive. You're not just losing fat, you're gaining back vitality. That's what healing looks like. But there's one more piece: movement and light. Even a gentle 20-minute walk after eating tells your body to use that meal for fuel. And early morning sunlight helps reset your circadian clock balancing, hunger hormones, sharpening focus, and improving sleep. These small natural cues create huge shifts when paired with fasting. And when you rebuild after your fast with healing foods, organ meats, omega-3, rich fish, fermented vegetables, you give your body the deep nutrition it's been missing for decades. You're not just changing what's on your plate. You're restoring the communication between your organs, your metabolism, and your cells. That's how fasting becomes a lifestyle, not a phase. Not a diet, but a return to the wisdom your body never forgot, just lost in the noise. Now pause for one final image. It's a few months from now. You wake up refreshed, your belly lighter, your clothes looser, your thoughts sharper. You walk easier, breathe deeper, smile more often. Friends notice something different. You feel different. And it didn't take a fancy diet, a magic pill, or expensive programs. It took rhythm, rest, respect for your body's design. That's what fasting gives you: control, clarity, and healing. Not by force, but by flow. So here's my last message to you. Your body is not broken. It's brilliant. It's been waiting for the chance to reset, to rebuild, to thrive. And that chance begins with one simple act: giving it space, to do what it was made to do. Fasting is that space. Real food is the support. And when you bring them together, visceral fat doesn't stand a chance. Aging doesn't have to mean decline. It can mean refinement, restoration, and strength. If this resonated with you, if it gave you hope, subscribe right now. Share this with someone who needs to hear it. Comment with your age and where you're watching from, because your story matters. And your next chapter starts here. Thank you for watching. Thank you for trusting your body again. Keep fasting wisely. Keep nourishing deeply. And remember, the human body was never designed to fail, only to heal when given the chance.